Hello and welcome to Opinion, the weekly sports talk show on Channel 18, Public Access TV. My name's Dirk Keller. This is the one and only, the one and only Earl Murphy.
I thought you were going to say Pat White.
Thank God there's only one Earl Murphy.
Ladies and gentlemen, Pat White. And we have a very special guest. Mike Gatens is here. Mike, thanks for being here today.
Annual appearance.
Yeah, let's keep it, well, we can do more than annual. We can do at least...
I got to say hello to Glenn Vindovic. He'll be watching.
Stick is watching.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, we wanted... we got a lot to talk about today. We're going to talk about Iowa men's and women's basketball. We're going to talk a little bit about football, a little bit about wrestling. But we wanted to start off and talk a little bit about Matt Gatens, your son, former Hawkeye, who is playing professional basketball in Spain these days. Mike just got back with his family from a wonderful Spain. How many weeks?
3 weeks.
Is that right?
Weeks.
Yeah, Julie and I were alone with Matt for a week in Murcia, M-U-R-C-I-A is how it's spelled, but it's pronounced Murcia. It's southeast part of Spain, 40 miles off the Mediterranean Sea, 40 miles from Alicante. You fly into Madrid, and then you take a puddle jumper over to Alicante, and then it's 40 miles, like from here to the Quad Cities to get to Matt's. Tough million. It's like, it reminded me of Scottsdale down in Murcia, and then Matt lives up in the foothills in Altreal, which is like Coralville, Iowa City. 60 to 70 degrees every day for 3 weeks in sunshine.
In December.
In December. Did a lot of walking through the hills with Julie and one of Matt's teammates' wives and little baby. But it's probably 3 of the best weeks of my life.
Is that right?
Wow.
Yeah, that's Murph. Beginning to be with Matt, with just Julie alone for a week was really special. It had been since high school.
Is that right?
Then the girls came a week later. The older sisters, the mentors, who shaped Matt. His sisters had a lot to do with shaping Matt as a young man, his personality, and the new love of our life, Erin, Matt's fiance, came back with the girls. She spent the September to October with Matt, or till Thanksgiving. Her parents came out to be in Spain with them, and then she flew home with her parents and spent a month back here, and then she flew back with the girls on December 21st. So we had Christmas and New Year's with the girls and Matt, and we left Matt for 2 nights and went to Barcelona. And Dr. Jack Moyers, his wife's brother, his son's, John Moyer's wife, Kathy's brother, has a condo in Barcelona. And Kathy said to Julie, if you ever go over to see Matt, you want to go to Barcelona, you can rent their condo probably. And we did. And so I'm in Barcelona with Megan, Nicole, Julie, and Erin. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
Where did you spend Christmas?
And Matt has a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom condominium, a beautiful place on a golf course, and we all got to stay together with those 3 bedrooms. It was just fabulous.
Does that come with his contract?
Yes. It's and he drives in a beautiful place to live on this golf course. Drives a new BMW SUV. I told him to stall the real life as long as he can. Play as long as you can. The real life isn't going anywhere. There's a lot of misconceptions about taxes and everything, and real quick I'll tell you how that works. Keep it simple. For every dollar you make over in Spain, the Spanish team, if you write your contract right, which B.J. Armstrong is Matt's agent with the Wasserman Group, along with a gentleman by the name of Jason Rainey, have done a wonderful job for Matt. I mean, Fran McCaffrey really helped us with the agent thing, but BJ's just done a wonderful job, he and Jason. But one of the parts of these contracts, most of them have, is every 25 cents of every dollar, you can get a receipt that the team will pay tax for you.
Really?
And they'll pay 25 cents on every dollar. Well, that's 25,000 off every 100,000. Just do the math, how it multiplies. So then you bring that receipt back to the United States, and you say the United States government, 25 cents on every dollar has already been paid on what I've made. So then if you're in a cent tax bracket, you pay another 5 cents. If you make 100,000, you pay another 5,000. So
You don't pay twice.
you don't pay twice. So somebody, per 100,000, you can keep $92,000 to $95,000 out of every $100,000 you make. Wonderful way to
Does he
save money.
have to pay tax on, like, the condo that he gets
No.
in the car?
No,
He doesn't own it.
no. But it's interesting to say that it does in that
Probably does
In
here.
that 25
in that
cents. on every
25,
dollar.
yeah, because it is so anyway, that's the contract part of it, but he's got a nice contract, and they give him a car, give him a place to live. And his team, there's 18 teams in the league, and they call it the second best league in the world. And I got to see it firsthand. I followed it before I went over there. And the teams in the bottom of the league are great teams, great players. They can all shoot, they play deep, pass the ball. It's a real exciting brand of basketball. Fans are fabulous. They love their teams. Off of last year's standings, out of the 18 teams, the top 6 get to play in what's called the EuroLeague. The EuroLeague, on Wednesday and Thursday, the top 6 teams in the Spanish league get to play like a team from Greece. So there's like 2 teams out of the Greek leagues in the EuroLeague. A team out of England, a couple out of France, some out of Russia. Matt's team did not finish in the top 6 last year in the standings, so the bottom 12 teams only play once a week, Saturday or Sunday. So the league starts September 29th, and the last...
Even though the teams change, probably.
Right, but if your team qualified last May. Your team finished in the top 6. Okay, that team is going to get to play in the EuroLeague, which is a great deal for the team. You can imagine it's more games, it's more
More
really
travel.
a little expense, but
When does the season end?
well, May 19th is Matt's last game, and so the season goes from September 29th to May 19th, and you play once a week. And Matt's BJ was brilliant, and Jason, they wanted to sign Matt to a 2-year contract, and BJ and Jason said no. They expected Matt to do what he's doing, and he's averaging around 11 points, which is really good, because and he's averaged 30 minutes of play out of 40, which is really good.
What position does he
He's
play?
shooting guard like he was. For example, I'll tell you, Robbie Hummel from Purdue and William Buford from Ohio State are on the
Is that
same
where
team.
Buford is?
They're on the same team in a town called Bilbao, which is north of Spain. And no, that's not. They're not Bilbao. I'm sorry. I can't remember where they are. But they play on the same team. And William Buford is about 15 minutes a game, and about 3 or 4 points. And
Is that right?
he's struggling a little bit. He's not shooting the ball well. Robbie had another knee problem, had some a little bit of surgery, and came back. And the other day I saw he had a pretty good game, but he's had trouble with his knees. But there's 32 players in the NBA today that have played in it's called the Liga Indisa.
So if he's only playing once a week, is he practicing 5-6 days?
A lot. And I'd never been to one, other than shooting practices on the road when I used to travel around the Big Ten with Glenn Vidovic and my buddies to watch Matt play. I'd never been to one of Matt's practices in high school or college because parents don't belong there. That's what they have games for. There's no way Matt would probably walk out of the gym if I would have gone and walked in. And I'm a firm believer in that. But we're over there, and I said, would you mind if I came to one of your practices? Oh, Dad, you got to come. It's different. You got to come. So I do, and it was funny. They'd practice. It was fun practices. You got to keep it fun. A lot of playing, and a lot of instruction. And Matt's learning a lot.
What do they do that's fun?
Play the game. Like if you go over to one of Fran's practices, I go 2 or 3 times a month to Fran's practices. Boy, I'd like to get reincarnated and play for Fran McCaffrey because his practices are so much fun. When they really practice hard, an hour or more of practice is situation. Like they'll put the scores 17 to 14 with a minute and a half to go. And it might take 20 minutes of real time to get through that 3 or 4 minutes of playing, but you're playing, you're learning, you're thinking. I mean, Fran is so cerebral, but watching Matt's practice, you practice a lot. Matt wants to get in a lot of shots. They have an automatic shooting machine at Iowa called the Gun that I got Matt when he was like in 8th grade. We got one, and I put it down in North Dodge. So Matt's been on a gun since 7th grade probably. Well, they don't have one in Spain. They should. Each team should have one.
Yeah.
But he misses that. But he's still getting a lot of shots up. But it was funny. But every 20 minutes they'd go agua. And the guys would go over and they'd sit down. They'd have Gatorade for him or water. Matt would go shoot free throws. And then he'd shoot jump shots. And right at agua time, Matt would take a couple sips and back at it. Well, they had agua time 4 times.
In how long are the practices?
Well, hour and a half, hour and 45.
Similar to what it would be here?
Yes, pretty much. Because they're professionals, this is their job.
Yep.
They're going to get, they pay these guys a lot of money, they're going to get the most out of them. He never sat down. Every agua time, Matt went to shoot free throws and to work on his jump shot because shooters want to shoot when they're tired. They want to when they're tired. They want to shoot jump shots when they're tired. And so during practice, you get tired, you agua time, you're tired, he shot. And I thought that was pretty cool. It didn't surprise me.
How's his free throw percentage over there in Spain?
It was funny, his first shot as a professional, he scored 18 points in the first game he played. And his first shot, he gets fouled. 3-pointer. And it was on, you can watch him on via the internet, about half his game. I didn't know it at that time. But afterwards, I saw he missed a couple free throws, but he missed 2 out of 3 free throws. Oh. His first free throws, and he was like, wow, this is a great way to start in his mind. But he's shooting in the 80% centile, and he's not shooting that well. He's shooting about 33 or 34% from 3, which disappoints him, but he got targeted. Yeah. He got targeted, and I'll tell you what. He guarded the leading scorer. I got to see him guard the lead in the league, 21 points a game. Matt's 23, this guy's 32 years old. Matt's very young for that league. A lot of the guys are 28 to 35. They're men. They're really playing well at that age. I mean, a lot of guys don't reach their peak till that age. But Matt held him to 11 points. And this guy didn't like it, so he was hanging on Matt, too.
What's the nationality of the team? Are they predominantly Spanish?
Yes, I'd say, Pat, 60% of them you have Australians. Matt has a 2-time Olympian from the last 2 Olympics, Australian player. His name is David Barlow, wonderful young man, 6'11". Bernie Rodriguez was an Olympian in 2008 with Spain when they got second to the United States. He's Matt's mentor. He's 33 years old, another 33-year-old, and he's really been a mentor to Matt. Wonderful young man that's helped Matt. A great player. And real quick, I'll tell you about a game. The other day, it wasn't on TV, and if it's not on TV, they just write about what happens, like,
do a live scroll.
Is that what it's called? Yeah. Live scroll. And I can't watch it. You can't watch it like that. So if Matt has a game at 12:30, about 1:30 in the afternoon, I'll check to see what the halftime score is. Yep. And then about 2:30, I'll check. Well, this past Saturday, all those great games were on TV. And it was 12 o'clock here. It was 7 o'clock in Madrid where Matt was playing. And so Matt was playing while all those good games were going on. And they're down 3 at halftime. And they were down 10 going into the 4th quarter, and they're 10-minute quarters. Matt's team outscored the opposition 29-13 in the 4th quarter. Turned down a 10-point deficit to a 6-point win. Scored 10 points in the last, in a span of about 2 minutes.
Are these 10-minute quarters?
Yes. But with about 3 minutes to go, the team was down by 4. And Matt's on the wing and dribbles to the top of the key and it was like a 90-degree angle. He just turns down the lane, and he saw the lane open, and he went down the lane, and he dunked over a 7-foot guy, the number 10 pick in the NBA draft in 2006. Because I saw this guy, he's 7 feet, he's from Senegal, His name was Sene or something, Mohammed Sene, and so I Googled him and read all about him. But Matt goes down and he threw it. He was up here and he threw it down. And I'm sure Matt's dunked a couple times in college, probably, like that, probably 4 or 5 times. I remember at Ohio State his freshman year, he went right down the middle and just ripped it down. But that's not Matt. Matt's a jump shooter.
Well,
Most of his dunks were breakaway.
I'm going to.
Yeah, most of them were breakaways. They weren't. So then, to finish the story real quick, that took it to 2. Next time down, Matt hit a 3 to get a 1-point lead. Next time down, Matt hits another 3 to get a 4-point lead. Next time down, 2 free throws to get a 6-point lead. And then it was a march to the free throw line. They threw it into our point guard, and he made 5 out of 6 free throws. And they scored a couple times, but BJ wrote me an email after the next day, and he goes, "Great contract builder for the future." That's what BJ said about it. And it was.
Well, we all had lunch together on Monday, and Mike was telling us about the end of this game that he just described for the viewers. Right after I got back to the office from lunch, I go to HawkeyeReport.com, and the video of Matt's dunk is all
Really?
Hawkeye Report. I mean, there are 5, 6 different people who found
Really?
it and put it up there, and
the
it's
dunk?
awesome.
The dunk?
The dunk.
Yeah, the dunk.
And I knew right away it was the one you had described.
Yeah.
But it was one of the top 10 moments in sports in Spain that day.
Yeah, it was one of the top 7.
Yeah.
And what Matt's defense has stayed the same. In fact, I think he's shocked a few of the people because shooting guards aren't known, and that's what I always said about Matt. Shooting guards aren't known to be lockdown defenders. They like to shoot, and they like to shoot, and they like to get the ball back and shoot. Well, Matt will lock you down. But Matt he's attacking the rim a lot better. That's where he struggled, I think, in college, where he'd go up and, sometimes he'd pump, he'd be coming down, he'd get a shot blocked a little bit sometimes. He's attacking the rim, but the other thing is doing that mid-range game that Matt always would use once in a while. He's getting that he's getting to the free throw line. And in fact, one of the games I saw in person, he got knocked on his butt 3 times, and he made the shot, and he never got the call. He never got the call. And they say some of the the U.S. guys don't get calls because the refs, you're kind of taking a spot from a Spanish or a European, but you're not, because you're allowed 2 each team. But
Within the context of team at games, practices, how does it deal with the language issues?
real well. Julie and I were. Matt was lucky enough to go to one of the best public high schools in the country, West High, City High. It doesn't matter. He went to City High, and he took 4 years of Spanish, and he paid attention. His fiance, 4 years of Spanish up at Lindmar, she paid attention, and we were amazed how well he adapted. Going out, we went out to eat a lot. It's funny. There's a Argentinian Olympian that's his assistant coach that could have played in the NBA but stayed in the Liga Andiza his whole career out of Argentina. 7-foot guy, and he'll stand right next to the coach during practice. And when he has the team together, and the Americans are right here, Matt and the other guy are right here, and he's interpreting everything the coach says, because his head coach speaks little English, a little bit.
And they talk fast.
Yeah, that's what Matt said, that they talk fast, and that's hard for him to pick it up. But he's picking more and more up, and it's amazing, in the heat of battle, and you're sitting there like the 4 of us are there, and somebody else, and the coach is there, and he's speaking a different language. You better pick it up.
Mike, early part of your talk, you said something about that you wish you had. What's our coach's name?
Fran?
Yeah.
Fran, you wish you had him as a coach.
Oh my God! Well, I had Coach Olson. I don't want to be disrespectful to Coach Olson, but why? Are you asking me why? A lot like Coach Olson. Fran is such a player's coach. I mean, he really is a player's coach. He loves those boys so much, and he gets on them, and they look at him. Yeah, I went to practice yesterday, and Clemens, at the end of practice, I'm sitting like where the timers are. And he's got the boys there, and Anthony is like, turned his head, and he didn't take his eyes off of Fran when Fran was talking about practice, what to do. And he looked at him like, I mean, every word, he was taking it in. I'll tell you, Anthony Clemens and Patrick Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Ingram, my wife Julie's the athlete of the family. She really is. Got nothing but maybe being tough. And I'm not that tough. I'm tough on a basketball court, but not football tough. But Julie just loves Patrick Ingram as a player. He's got pop.
You know, early in the year when he wasn't playing, I'm thinking, he was out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't we recruit him?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm beginning to see why.
And he stayed over. He got asked to be in the Indiana-Kentucky All-Star game, which is, I mean, you grow up and you get to do that. It was either that or come and go to summer school and work out. And you work out with Fran, you're going to learn things. You're going to pick up stuff. He was behind the 8 ball. Plus, he was out of shape, and he'd be the first one to tell you that.
He's playing good defense.
Oh,
and when he decides to go to the basket, he can do it.
oh, that beautiful play he had against Michigan State.
Michigan State, where he had the crossover layup,
Yes.
used the basket to protect the ball.
Yes. Use it
Use
as
the rim.
Use the rim.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it's really fun at practice, and they did it yesterday. A good time to go to practice is after a day off. The day after a day off, because they really go at it. Gasell going against Anthony Clemens all day long.
That'll make you a better.
Wow.
That'll make you a better offensive
So in
player.
practice, he's got them against each other.
Not every day.
Yeah.
Not every day. But his practices are so much fun.
You know, a lot of people were assuming Anthony was going to hit the bench after those early turnovers against Michigan State. And I mean, he did in the game, but he played some good defense, got a couple steals early. He passes the ball so well.
You know, he makes the guys, our 2 freshman ball handling guards had 8 turnovers total. Both of them had 4 against Michigan State, and that's, to them, I mean, that's just not those guys, but they're freshmen.
Yeah.
They're playing against pretty good guys.
Yeah.
I mean, that's good, Michigan State.
Well, now back to Spain for a moment.
Yeah.
How's the food?
It's good. Matt likes it. He introduced us to paella, which is a rice dish. The rice is prepared. You almost have to order it before you go to a restaurant. Sometimes, no, we're out. You should have called. I like a little bit more seasoning. The food is a little bit too bland for me. But it's very good. And close to the Mediterranean, a lot of seafood.
Not bad.
A lot of seafood.
Now, does Matt cook for himself?
Not much. Probably because Erin's there.
Oh,
Erin's
okay.
there.
She's there now.
They're engaged to be married August 14th, but they're going to be married for 2 years before they get married. What do you think, Grandpa Don would think about that, Murph?
Make him nervous.
Yeah, if Grandpa Don would have ever gotten to meet Erin, he would have said, Matt, it's just fine.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad you like her. I'm glad she's over there with him.
Well, that's the best thing. Matt knows that's where he needs to be. And Matt will come home. He'll have some NBA workouts this summer. And, you know, you never know what's going to happen.
How's the future look for him?
Well, you never know, Murph. There are a lot of guys, like I said, there's 32 players in the NBA today that played in the league, in Matt's league.
Pretty good.
There's, like the guy that Matt dunked on, there's NBA players that have played in the NBA that are in Matt's league. So, Matt, if, you know, he knows, you know, you only get one shot at this. There's no mulligans in this thing we call life, and he's got a span. And Matt works hard, as we all know, and he's got a shot. And if he keeps improving, if he takes it to the hole and dunks on people, if he mid-range game, but I just would like to see. You know, Phoenix was close last year. Phoenix was real close, and then he got offered this nice contract, and they figured, you know, we're not ready to commit to him quite yet, but I guarantee you, Phoenix knows that he dunked on that guy and knows that he hit. You know, he's shooting Other than his first 2 or 3 games, I bet you Matt's shooting in the 40 percentile from three. And it's tough defense over there. I mean, maybe it might be NBA because the NBA's got 82 games, and those guys can't play belly button defense. I see a lot more open shots in the NBA than I did in Matt's league. But if you tell those guys in the NBA, okay, lock down, they can lock you down. But Matt would be a guy that would come in, and a guy like Michael Jordan, Matt would be like a Hoiberg, the guys
Bobby
that Mike,
Hansen, maybe.
Bobby Hansen.
Yeah, I was going to compare him to Bobby Hansen.
Bobby Hansen, where Mike would penetrate and kick out, and you better make that shot.
Yep.
You know, you better make that shot. And then that's the kind of player Matt would be in the NBA. But he'd also go down and he'd lock you down on defense. He can, you know, Hardaway, all those guys that Matt guarded in the last 4 years in the Big Ten.
When did you play?
What did I play?
When?
When? I was going to say, what I played was I guarded the water bottle. 2 to 76. Lute Olson's first 2 years
Okay.
were my last 2.
Remember when we beat UCLA in Chicago?
Well, I got to play against UCLA. We were their 88. We were UCLA's 88th victim in their string of 88
Okay,
wins.
where was that played?
That was in Chicago Stadium
Okay.
when they used to have the doubleheader. But that was 9 years before that, in '65, Ralph Miller's first year.
Yes.
He beat Johnny Wooden,
That's
and then and that was in '65, and in January of '74. That's right. '74.
Super Sam Williams.
There you go.
No.
Wasn't it? I think
No.
it was.
No, it was Dick Schultz's last year. Super Sam Williams was 68. They won the Big Ten. The co-champs in the Big Ten. Stick's sophomore year. They're really good. The MVP Super Sam Williams was 68. This was 74 with Candy LaPrince, Neil Fegebank, Jim Collins, Scotty
Sky King.
Yes, he was a freshman.
There's a guard, Paulino.
Neil Fegebank.
Neil Fegebank.
Dennis Paulin.
Paul, yeah.
He was on that team you're talking about,
Oh,
65. Gary Olson.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Paulin's name.
Dennis Paulin.
Dennis Paulin.
Dennis Paulin from Paulina.
Yeah, that's right. He came in the store and he was looking around and he said, "Is Murph here?" And that's me. And he said, "I'm here to get. I got. Would you loan me $100? I got to get a ring for a girl."
Really?
Yes. And I said,
This would be an NC2A infraction?
"Yeah." And I
Well, not
said,
necessarily at the time.
"All right." Anyhow, I said, "Okay. How much do you need?" He said, "I need $100." I said, "Okay." I was carrying a lot of money. And anyhow, I said, "Okay." I said, "Dennis Paul, captain of the team?" He said, "One of them." And I said, "Okay. When will you pay me back?" This coming Monday, I'll be in with the money. And
Wow.
so I gave him the money, and I was going to. I said, "I'll see you in Chicago." He said, "Are you going to Chicago?" He said, "Yes."
Really?
I went because the men's retailers of America have a big.
You were at that game?
Yes.
You were at that? Wow.
See, the best part to come. Anyhow, I'm sitting in the Iowa section, and this girl is showing off a ring.
The ring that you bought.
That's right. That's right. And, oh,
I wonder if they're still together.
I don't know.
I bet they are.
Is he still alive?
Yes, he is.
Or if
Yes,
he'll
he
be at
is.
John Street's affair? No, that would.
So,
yeah.
back to Spain for a
Yeah.
minute. How many people attend Matt's games?
Oh, you know, the arenas are anywhere from 5,000 to probably 12,000, and Matt's arena is about 6,000, and about 4,500 to 5,000 are there.
And how much is a ticket?
Good question, because Matt had, of course,
Yeah.
he gets 4 passes. I thought €8, and a euro is €1 equals about $1.40.
$1.40.
Yeah. So what's nice
$12.
is since it's once a week, and you very rarely have 2 games in a row, the fans know that every other Sunday or Saturday there's going to be a game.
They play on the weekends, so.
Yes, the 12 do. And then if you're in the EuroLeague, you get Wednesday or Thursday also on the road. So it's not saturated like those 4 home football games in a row here this past fall. I hope we never do.
Oh my God, that was killer.
That was brutal. I mean, it shouldn't be brutal going to an Iowa football game just because even 2 in a row is tough. But that happens.
Would have helped if we were winning.
Yeah, even
Wouldn't
if you're winning.
Wouldn't have been quite as brutal.
It was a burden.
And then all these, and we got to do it in basketball. You've got all these games. You got to get them in before the Big Ten. But I think the fans really like it. That regularity about every other Saturday or Sunday.
It's like we used to have in the Big Ten, every Thursday and
Knowing
Saturday.
what nights makes a big difference.
What's that?
Knowing what days makes a huge
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
And they're 12:15 in the afternoon, and they're fanatic. They love their team. And
Do they bring a horn,
Oh, yeah.
whistle? They can't bring whistles, can they?
well, I'll tell you, this one opposing team brought whistles, and I mean, a number of times I couldn't tell if it was the referees or the fans from it. They have drums and
Oh yeah.
it's
How
a
about
blast.
cheerleaders?
Oh yeah.
They do have cheerleaders.
Well, dance girls,
Yeah.
gorgeous.
I'll bet.
I don't want to get Brett Musburg on you, but
That was funny.
he just got carried away.
Well, it wasn't his fault.
Aye.
He doesn't decide what the camera does.
That's right.
That's right.
He's
a
a
completely
fill-in.
different
He's got to
system.
fill in the blanks.
And then he just talks with what the producer, the director,
That's-
put screen.
I didn't think he said anything wrong.
He didn't.
He didn't,
He didn't say anything wrong.
I didn't take.
Somehow he should have told the guy, stop showing her. Stop showing her. But she's on there. What are you going to say? You got to say
Yeah.
something.
It's a blowout. You got to do something.
And you knew that they were going to keep showing her. That's what these producers do for games when there's a pretty
Boy, did
wife
she-
or girlfriend.
Did she handle it well?
Uh-oh.
But
Joe's
the
gonna
dance,
say- Joe's
Joe
gonna say
Murphy's
something.
got something.
I wish
to
I could put a picture of a pretty girl up instead of you guys.
You can if you like.
Good.
Yeah.
but every team has. It's funny how they all run out in a string of about 20 beautiful girls, and then they line up when the team comes out on either side, it's quite a show.
Yeah,
And they
bet.
dance. They're good dancers. They're very good. Very good.
Do they have bands or musicians?
They have a little band.
Do
Yeah, they do. They play music.
Yeah.
It's loud. It's rockish. Matt loves it. He absolutely. he loves the
What a-
environment.
Matt is writing a blog or has a blog.
Yeah, and yes, he's had about 7. He's written 7 or 8 little stories about his experience. And his last one was end of October and end of December when we were there. I said, Matt, come on, people. Everywhere I go, people, pretty much every day I hear, when's Matt going to write another part of his blog? And he's a pretty good writer. You've read him.
Yeah.
You've read him.
Do you have the web address for his blog?
Yes, it's Matt Gayton's WordPress.com.
Oh, there you go. Matt Gatens, Gatens at WordPress.com. That's easy.
Or mattgatens.wordpress.com.
Oh.
It's one of the two. And then he named it Espana. So if you sign up for it, which is really easy to do in the bottom corner, you sign up for it with your email address. When he does write, it'll come Espana. And go, what's that?
Yeah.
What is this Espana? But that's what he named it, Espana. And then if you want to follow Matt, the name of his team is UCAM Murcia, MURCIA. And if you just Google that, you'll get all kinds of stuff. And if you get to his website, up at the top, there's a logo that says Liga Indiza. And it's right next to the logo of his team. If you click onto Liga Indiza, you'll come to his league. And his league he gave me a magazine of his league, kind of like the media guide. Oh my God, it's something. It's really something. And then you can follow. You can even watch the games if you want to.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
Have you seen, apparently you've seen the dunk.
After every game, they have, of course, they have the statistics. They have a little write-up of the game, and then they have, whether it was on TV or not, they have a video highlight of the game. So Saturday after the game, I checked out how they did, and a couple hours later, they put the video out, and I clicked the video, and that's the first time I saw the dunk. And
Pretty impressive.
of course, and then I saw the three, and I knew he'd hit all these shots because you can tell what time he did that. He spent the night in Madrid. Aaron and this other player's wife went up to Madrid, watched the game, like a 3-hour drive, and so they had Sunday off, so they didn't come back with the team. They came back the next night, which is kind of cool to spend some time in Madrid. But I had to email Matt, and I said, jeepers creepers, was that second half of that game 10-foot basket the first half, and then it must have been basket, Matt, the second half.
10 foot.
Yeah,
That's,
to dunk on that guy, but his weight's about the same. If you keep your weight right and you're young like that, if he was 5-8 pounds heavier, it would affect his jumping.
Well, I think he's living a dream.
He appreciates it too. He really does.
How about the sports? Is it well covered?
Yes, very well covered in the papers, and it's in basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, he played up in Barcelona, and he is so much as who's that great player? The greatest soccer player in the world right now. When we were in Barcelona, Julie and I just flipped on the TV set, and he broke a record of 88 goals or something this year. It's a lot of goals, and they were showing them all. The guy's unbelievable, and Matt got to see the arena he played in when how close to the arena Matt played.
How much does the star make a year?
That soccer player, the greatest one in the world. Oh my God,
He's millions.
oh millions. Yeah.
Tens of millions.
Messi's his name. Messi, fabulous player.
Who does he play for?
FC Barcelona,
Which is a
football
big
club,
team.
football club of Barcelona.
Yeah, that's a big team.
And they have a basketball team.
Yeah.
And Real Madrid, you've all heard of Real Madrid, fabulous. The best league team in Matt's league. And Matt said, it's very easy, Dad. He said, the wealthy teams are the best teams. They've got the best players because they have the most money. It's very simple.
Golden rule.
Yeah, where there's no draft or anything. So that's if things don't work out here, Matt's goal really, if Matt isn't here next year, and it could be maybe 3 or 4 could get back here. Who knows? It all depends. Maybe never.
He likes it there.
Yes, he really does. But he really wants to play twice a week. He wants to get on one of those top teams. So he's never been real goal-oriented, I don't think, but he just works hard.
Well, he's earned what he's worked for.
Yeah.
And it's just really neat to know that he's having this success and getting to enjoy life as a professional basketball player.
Yeah, it's real quick, a strange lifestyle, because you work so hard in practice, and you practice a lot, you play. So what do you do in the off time? Well, you got to rest. You got to rest your body because you got to go back at it again because they're usually off Monday if they play Sunday. Then Tuesday and Wednesday there's 2 practices, and then Thursday you taper down Friday. So there's a lot of downtime. He reads a lot. He reads a lot, and he has Slingbox TV. He can watch us.
Really?
He can watch all the TV we see through this Slingbox. He won't watch this. He'll say, Dad,
It won't be
you
rated
talk
real high,
too
will it?
much. He's heard everything I've got to say.
Well, we'll put it on Facebook, and he'll have a hard time avoiding it.
Yeah, he'll be very embarrassed.
Switching gears a little bit, still talking about Hawkeye men's basketball. It's been 20 years this coming Saturday since Chris Street died. Chris was here on the Hawkeye basketball team, team leader, beloved classmate of a lot of students at school at the time.
Mike, did you know him?
Oh, very well.
Yeah.
You did.
I mean,
Mikey didn't
instead
live
of
too
buying a
far.
ring, I saw it the night. Instead of buying a ring for Dennis Pauling, Julie and I would have Chris out to the house, and Nicole was 10. Megan was 6 and Matt was 3.
Wow.
And I emailed Matt Sunday about Rick Brown's articles and everything. I said, get on Hawk Central and read it. He read it all. And Chris would play with Matt and the girls, but Matt, being 3 years old, he doesn't remember.
Sure.
And Paul Lusk would come out to the house with Chris. They were.
Remember him?
Are you living,
Pardon me?
where you living, where you're
Yes.
living now?
Yeah. And Monday on my email, there was a letter from Matt to the streets.
No.
And Julie copied it. It was a beautiful letter that Matt wrote to the streets that I put in the mail yesterday to Mike and Patty, because he started out, he apologized for not being there for this celebration. You know, it's going to be a beautiful celebration.
And they're going to have all the Chris Street Award winners back.
As
or-
many, like Bruner won't be there, Matt
Right.
won't be there, but yeah, they're going to be announced, the former winners, and the whole halftime's Chris. But Chris was very dear to everybody that knew him. But
Did you hear
I had a
this?
personal relationship with him.
Did you hear the sirens when it happened?
What I was doing, Pat, I was going up, Ken Grabitsky's son, Zach, was a junior in high school, and I was getting on the interstate to head west on the interstate to go watch Zach play up in Cedar Rapids, Washington. And I look down toward the Highlander, and I see all these lights. So I get on the interstate. Here comes an
Just
ambulance.
before the exit for the interstate, before that intersection where the wreck was.
Just north
No,
of
beyond
the
it.
interstate.
Oh.
Highlander exit,
Out-
beyond
the
to the
Highlander.
north.
I got you. I
to the
got
north.
you.
Highlander turn-in.
And so the ambulance is coming from the east. And so I figured there was something. So I go to the game and I come home and I walk in the door and I just collapsed.
Yep.
Gary Close passed out. My good friend Gary Close, he literally passed out when he found
You know,
out.
that's almost an
How is
coincidence that he's going to be there
Very
Saturday night.
It's
ironic.
gonna be very
It
difficult.
is.
It's gonna be
It'll
very,
be very hard for
very hard for Gary.
I think Gary lost his marriage over the
you.
death of Chris Street. I do.
Gary changed.
Yeah.
Gary's just a wonderful human being.
Yep.
And it was like a son to Gary,
Yep.
like all those coaches. But I just saw a TV station in
KCCI.
Oh my God! Wait till
just-
I don't think we get to see it around here.
No, but you just go online and they'll have everything up.
Oh my God!
just-
what a tribute.
KCCI.
And then Jerry.
What happened? What they
Well,
do?
it's like an hour show about his life.
Yeah.
And then Jerry Palmer has got so many good ideas at the University of Iowa, and he's going to go do something with Reggie Evans.
Really?
That's going to be cool. And then he's also going to do something with, he hopes, and I think he's going to get it done, all of Hayden Fry's coaching tree. Like, he's going to go down and talk to Dan McCarney. He's going to, did you know that Hayden Fry coached Jerry Jones? He's going to,
No.
Jerry Jones, the Dallas Cowboy owner. And where do you
Okay.
think he coached him?
Arkansas.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. When Hayden was at Arkansas. But Jerry Palmer, back to Jerry Palmer, he's a thinker. And he,
Jerry's the heavyset guy you
Yes.
see hanging around the court
Right.
almost always at every Hawkeye men's and women's game.
at the end of all the presentations Saturday, he's on the big screen, he's got about a 2-minute tribute that it brought tears to my eyes.
I bet.
I mean, it's something, and Jerry did it. The last bit is going to be the team running up the tunnel. He's going to be right before the locker room, and the team's going to be running toward him, all with this Iowa team,
Yeah.
with the
Chris Street shirts.
with 40 going into the locker room, and then right there is the tribute
Yeah.
to Chris Street, and he's just going to focus on that, and that's going to end it. And Chris Street lives in all these Iowa basketball players. He lives. It's amazing how his life has affected, because Tom Davis and Steve Alford and Coach Licklider
And Street.
and Streef and Coach Fran have, I'm sure Fran will take this TV presentation from Des Moines and just show it to every team.
I'll tell you.
So these kids really know.
They had a tremendous time getting to Indian Hollow. with the weather.
Yeah.
Took him 6 hours to get the body down there the next day. It's an hour and a half, 2-hour drive. Took him 6 hours. But Matt's letter to the streets, Chris had a huge impact on my son. Huge.
Right.
Well, and Matt knows he played with him as a young boy, but in his letter he said, you know, I don't remember him. And as a 3-year-old, you're not going to remember him. But Matt said every day he looked at that plaque and played for Chris.
He got the.
For those that don't
Played for
know,
Chris.
just outside the
okay.
entrance to the Iowa men's basketball locker room is a plaque dedicated to Chris Street. And in essence, it has a saying on there that we used, if you, and I told my son this at dinner last night, if you give 100% every time, in the end, things will work out.
And don't ever quit.
And don't ever
Never
quit,
ever
yeah.
quit. But all those boys read that, and he lives in those boys.
Didn't he play after Settles?
No,
Before.
before and Settles is interviewed in this thing, and
Oh.
Settles.
They
were
played
also-
exactly the same, sort of the same.
Well, I watched this. Jerry Palmer was showing it to me in his office about an hour and a half ago. I said, Jerry, you've got to have Aaron White watch this because it's Chris.
Yeah. Aaron White,
It's
first
Chris.
time I saw him last year, it was Chris Street.
It's Chris.
It's the only player I've seen here that reminded me of Chris Street.
They show Chris in high school.
Yeah.
They show
They
him
do?
at Iowa. Oh yeah.
Football, too.
Oh, he's a football
wait,
player.
He was a
He was a
quarterback.
quarterback.
6'7"
right?
quarterback.
Six nine, and the football coach said to the basketball coach at Indianola, and this is in this thing, and they go, "Hey coach, you know we got this 6'9" guy that moved in from Humston, Iowa," and the basketball coach said, "No." He says, "Well, you might want to come down to football practice and watch him because he's our quarterback." He goes, "What?" Yeah, he's our 6'9" quarterback, and he is a better basketball player.
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
Who was he talking to?
Brucey, he was talking to the high school
interview.
basketball coach.
Oh.
He didn't know that this kid had moved in. Bruce Pearl called me the day that he committed because they had the Tom Davis camp, and he said, "Mike, we just you got to come over and watch this kid, Chris Street. We're going to offer him." And so I went over and watched him. I go, "Wow."
What year was he when they did?
Well,
Sophomore?
they offered him in '88,
He was
junior class.
he had given the earliest commitment to that point ever in Iowa basketball history. He
As
was
a
a
sophomore.
sophomore.
A
Never had
sophomore
that
going in his
before.
junior year, that's
Yeah.
right. And then beautiful comments from Jeff Horner,
Yeah.
Wade Lookingbill,
Yeah.
Ryan Lursman. I mean, it is so well done.
Go to kcci.com.
KCCI.
Yep.
Okay.
It's the,
And you can watch it?
yes.
Really?
I watched it this morning. I watched it last night. The Des Moines Register also has some exceptional
Oh, boy.
video
Yeah.
on their website, along with some written stories.
On like hawkcentral.com?
Yes.
What year was he?
He was
In
a junior.
Iowa, he was,
When he died, he was a junior.
he came here, it was 1994,
Okay.
but he passed away. He got killed in 93 his junior year.
Okay.
Yeah. So Pat, where were you that night?
At the, in the middle of what would have been, it still is, the Iowa consecutive free throw
Yeah.
record.
34,
never-
correct?
I
He
thought
never missed.
Matt was
Yeah, I thought
very
that would get
close.
He was, and Matt probably doesn't care if I
He-
tell a little bit about his letter to the streets, but
Did he
it's
mention
just
that?
beautiful. At the end of Matt's letter, he talked about that streak and how the one he looked at, and it was Chris's, and he always strived to beat it, and he got close. People told Matt that if somebody beat it, that they hope it's him. He said that was quite an honor.
Did
Yes.
Matt get to
For people.
33?
He got into the high 20s, and he got knocked on his, forget it, he got knocked on his butt.
I was thinking he was in it.
He got knocked on his
Yes,
butt,
30.
and it went to a TV timeout. And
Stiffened up.
it was a weird deal that
How many did Matt?
in a row,
Yeah.
I think Matt got like 28 or 9. He got within 5 or 6 of
Yeah.
it.
34 is what Street's
Yeah.
record is.
He, but Chris told the streets that he's glad he didn't beat it, that deserves it, but someday somebody
I
will.
heard there's going to be 90 in the party that's coming down from Indianola.
They've got 90, you've
Yeah,
heard?
yeah.
Yeah, there's like 80 or 90 relatives and friends and everything. You know, it's a celebration of life, and you know, there's so many tears. I mean, the streets have cried their eyes dry. But in this,
How many children do they have?
They have 2 younger daughters.
girls.
Okay, no boys.
But they're still crying, talking about Chris. And, you know, it's just. But he lives. You know, he lives in these boys.
And that was pretty much the overall message from both the TV station and the newspaper in their coverage of this. And they're adding to it every day this week. KGAN here is also doing a nightly feature on Chris Street. What I like most about it, especially the TV stations, they've got their own footage of game action that you don't normally see provided by the university. See things about Chris Street.
Yeah.
So there's some really good stuff. I showed my son Paul a lot of that footage last night to just give him an idea of how fierce a competitor Chris Street was.
Did he pick, was he the guy that picked if the opposition was, Iowa made a score?
Oh, after an Iowa score, he would be the
He was
point
on the
man
ball.
on defense.
That's right.
Yep.
Bobby Knight would have thrown the ball right in his face if he
Well,
had thought about it.
think back
soon
to that
enough.
last game that Chris Street Duke at Duke,
Oh, yeah.
and little Bobby Hurley,
They show a lot of
that
game.
little son of a you-know-what, threw the ball. He couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't take it, and he threw that ball and hit Street, not in the face. He tried to, but he hit him up high, and Street went after him. I don't know if you guys remember that, but some friends of mine, back then, 20 years ago, Iowa was on national TV at Duke, and that was a big deal.
That was his last game.
This was before every game was televised for every team everywhere. So a group of friends, we went out to the Highlander and rented a party room and spent the night.
Sounds
And
fun.
the game was on a Saturday afternoon. And I can still remember how angry we got with Bobby Hurley, and I've hated him to this day for the way he reacted to Chris Street's defense. And there's a little clip on KCCI. You don't see Bobby Hurley, but you see Chris Street's reaction. And he's yelling at him. He's barking at him after he gets hit with the basketball on the inbounds play.
Who's Iowa's coach?
Oh, that was Tom Davis.
You
No,
know,
that's what I
Bobby
thought.
Knight
Yeah.
is mentioning this, and he considered it at a press conference. He said he considered it an honor the night that they retired Chris's jersey at halftime of an Indiana game, and Bobby
They beat
Knight
us that
acknowledged that. And another guy that in this KCII thing is Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah,
Outstanding.
yeah.
They got a lot of from him.
They got Morgan
the
Weed.
day-
They've got all those Iowa State guys that wore number 40.
The day we played Iowa State this past year, Fred Hoiberg was outstanding in his comments.
To this day, I still think what Iowa State did in reaction to Chris Street's
I
death,
don't know why they ever stopped that.
well, they haven't stopped it. It's just that they don't have the players from Iowa. You have to be an Iowa-born and raised player. And
They really-
Is that right?
That's right.
Is that
Yeah,
right?
You have to be a born player, Iowa-raised.
And Fred should wear it on the bench.
Well, he was the first. Fred Hoiberg, for those
He
of
was
you who
the
don't
first.
remember, he changed his,
Johnny Orr did it.
yeah, he wore number 40 on his shoes, and then they decided that there would be an Iowa-born player every year at Iowa State to honor Chris Street by wearing his number 40.
Are you 6'9"?
I'm right at 6. I'm 6'8". Yeah.
Okay. You see him eye to eye.
Yeah. I'll tell you what I really looked up. I'll change this up because Adam Woodbury is a big man.
Yes.
He is.
Oh.
Oh my
He's
God.
7'1".
He's a big man.
Well,
But yeah, that's number 40. Iowa State wearing that. That's
That was
Johnny Orr.
classy.
Johnny Orr's classy.
I got to tell him thanks for that one at Bumps.
Johnny?
Yeah, at Bumps celebration party a couple of years ago. Johnny was there, and I forget who brought him over to meet me, but
He's a character.
I made a point to thank him for that. He is a character.
But he's a player's coach too.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll have to tell Fred that. Get some Iowa-born players on
would
your
help.
team.
Quit recruiting all these transfers.
Yeah.
He will. You know,
Well,
he
certainly
will. He
he
will.
Now,
But,
where
I
were
mean,
you,
they're not
Pat?
that many from, I was home.
You were at home?
Yeah.
And how'd you get word?
Whatever I was listening to or watching, I saw a bulletin.
The scroll or, yeah. And Earl, how about you?
I don't remember.
Don't you?
I heard the night he died. They were on the story real early.
They got it. Yeah, they broke into news about 9:30. It broke into programming
I
about
think it was-
9:30
yes.
before the 10 o'clock news.
And I think he was already dead.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One of the things I can now tell that I really never have is the documentation of the accident scene and the way it happened didn't satisfy me at all. He did a reenactment, brought a county truck and cars and engineers and lights and did about
At night,
No, it was a couple days later.
but not at night.
Yeah,
Oh, at night, yeah.
same time of day.
Yeah.
You know, the gentleman that drove that truck I think still works for the county.
I don't know if he did. I don't know.
He
if-
still does.
I've
I've
been
got a
retired
friend
for
that-
6 years.
I got a friend that works with him, and he,
I feel badly.
what a
for him.
guy, and you know, you forget about him. What every day, you know, he thinks about that, and
Oh, I'm sure.
Could have been any
sure
of
he
us.
does. I was actually surprised when I read the Register story that I say young woman, she's not so young anymore.
His girlfriend, Kim
agreed-
Vinton.
Yeah, agreed to do that
I was surprised.
interview.
She did.
boy, she did a great job.
And she
Yeah,
did
of course,
several.
It did absolutely a great job.
There are separate
It
interviews.
was very tasteful.
Yeah.
I
It
heard
would
they
have
were
been very
arguing.
painful.
You know, I'm not believing that.
I was
not
told by
believing
somebody
Okay.
who was there.
You know, that's the conversation.
And it doesn't matter right now. What about the documents didn't add up to you, Pat?
Well, just the measurements and
Oh.
photographs and just the usual stuff that somebody does reviewing a scene of a horrific death.
Yeah.
I pulled out of there
that's
a million times.
Yeah.
He was getting in the southbound lane. He looked left. That
Oh,
truck was on the bridge. Then he looked right, the traffic coming for Solon, because that's the line of traffic he was going to get in. My good friend Chris Street never looked left again.
I think you think of it every
doesn't
time you
look
go
left
through
again.
that
Every time.
intersection.
You got to look left again.
There's a light there now, of course.
Well, I got to
yeah.
tell you, about a month after Chris was killed, I was going out at night, probably to the grocery store or something, and I was at the intersection in Manville Heights of River Road and Lexington Street, and I was turning Lexington onto River Road, to the right, and it was still wintertime, you know, and at the very last, and there's not much traffic on those streets. It's pretty
No.
quiet streets. At the last second, I catch out of the corner of my eye, here comes a snowplow.
Oh,
And I didn't see it. And it had its shovel up. And the lights, you don't see the lights as well when that shovel is up. And it scared the bejesus out of me. And then Chris Street, and then I said, I get it. I mean, my heart was pounding. It was that close. It just scared me so bad. And I can see how something like that would happen. Joe Murphy, God bless him, he just told me we're out of time. I can't believe it. This went fast. I want to remind people that Lisa Bluter and
gonna
the
say,
Iowa
Lisa.
women, she's going for 600 wins, 600 career wins this week. There'll be a home game on Sunday at 3 p.m. against Purdue. Tomorrow night on the Big Ten Network. And help me out, Pat.
Michigan
State. Big games. The Hawkeye men, Wisconsin, 7 o'clock. The Chris Street game. Don't forget to be there. I guess I want to thank you, Mike, for being here.
well, I feel bad we
Appreciate
didn't
it.
get to talk about Lisa or the Hawks.
We will. We will. Next week, we're going to
Yeah.
have a very special guest from Hawkeye Report. Tom Kakert is going to be here to talk about football and recruiting and everything else that's going on in the world of Hawks. Until then, I want to thank you for watching sport every Wednesday night at 7 p.m., every Sunday night at 6 p.m., or you can go to my Facebook page or Pat's Facebook page or PATV.TV, just like Joe Murphy put up down here. How about that? We thank you for watching, and on behalf of Mike and Pat and Earl, remember this. Either you're a Hawk or you're not. Go Hawks!